Hello and welcome back, everyone. And I'm excited today not only to be talking about the Challenge USA Season 2, but I'm happy to be joined by a special guest and a friend of the channel, Ethanimale. Thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you for the invite again. I had a blast talking about USA 1. Definitely some changes that make this very much just like the flagship show, especially with the introduction of MTV, but I'm sure we'll be talking about that, but yeah, I'm excited to talk.
I don't know if I would have been bringing up our predictions for USA Season 1 because I felt like talking so highly of like Xavier, who is our men pick and our women pick to see who is going to win this Challenge USA.
I've been talking a lot about Xavier, how I think he's a shoo-in to win the final.
I'm going to say Xavier as well. All right, so you brought up the Challenge USA 2 and how it is somewhat different than the Challenge USA Season 1. What is your overall thoughts of the cast from USA 2 to USA 1? It's now USA 2 has vets on it, and it's like a third of the cast are vets. What do you think about that, especially with all the new players from Survivor and all that? How do you think the vets are going to play? And I guess because it's now a 3-team format, do you think that's going to help mitigate some of the vets banding together?
Before I get into the team format, just in general, I mean, I wasn't the most excited just because, I mean, I know like Big Brother has been impeding on like the challenge grounds for the last like 6 or so seasons. So I guess it's only fair. But it was exciting for USA 1 where it's like, oh, these are all fresh faces. There's no one coming in within the challenge advantage. So then you get into this and you have Johnny Bananas and Wes, who have like 50 combined seasons of experience going against somebody like Amira, who has played a reality show for 3 weeks. The veterans have a huge advantage and typically do really well. And we're probably going to see something similar to that. However, I do think the 3-team format could really help because it would be harder for all of the vets to band together if they're on 3 separate teams, especially with some of that crossover. Like you've got your Josh, Fessy, Paulie, Michelle, people that are the technically like the challenge vets, but their roots are rooted into these like CBS shows. So I do wonder how that's going to work and if they're going to be more of like the veteran side or if they're going to hang back with their original shows.
All right, so let's get into some of the cast members that are going to be on this. You are the Big Brother bravado, as I want to start off talking about your thoughts on the Big Brother newcomers. We have Alyssa S., Amira, Monty, and Tyler. We also have Alyssa L. and Tiffany also returning. Is there someone I named that you were surprised to see on this cast?
At least for like the 4 newcomers, I'm kind of surprised at all of them. On one hand, it makes sense. Like they pulled 3 people from Big Brother 24, the most recent season. Monty probably makes the most sense. He made it the furthest. In the end game, he was the definitive, like definitely the best competitor at that point. And I think he's like a fitness trainer. Alyssa wasn't necessarily the most athletic. I only remember this because it was like one of the last final HOH questions, but it was something like she went like 0-18 in competitions. Like she participated in 18 or 19 and lost all of them. So She wasn't necessarily the most dominant competitor. And then with Amira, I wasn't necessarily the biggest Amira fan, but I also at the same time, I like having people to root against. And Amira is probably someone I'm going to not necessarily be rooting for. But she'll be entertaining. And she came in second. I mean, she only played in a few competitions, but she came in second in most of them. I remember that being something where her last 3 competitions or so, she was just right there and then couldn't secure the win. And then she ended up going home. Last one was Tyler. I just remember him saying that he wasn't going to play one of these.
Right.
So that was kind of a shock to see him where it made sense if he wanted to, especially after Big Brother 20, he was super popular. But then he was like, I'm not really interested. So to see him on this cast was a little bit interesting, but I do know he went through his breakup with Angela, and maybe that kind of stirred a little bit of let me go try something. Let me get back out there.
Yeah, the one thing with like Tyler is like everybody, especially after Big Brother 20 and then after seeing like Fessel and Casey make the transition over to the challenge, it was like Tyler's the next one. Tyler has to come in here. And I just remember being like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then all of a sudden you get Big Brother 22 and now I was like, oh no, not this version of Tyler. Like, I don't want to see this version. With that breakup, it actually makes me a little bit more excited, especially seeing him kind of like making out with, I think, Alyssa S in the trailer. Yeah. Do you think that the Big Brother players that are coming from MTV are going to like just integrate with these newcomers? Because I know that like Tyler and Josh know each other. And Fessel, of course. And I think that they're all gonna get along, especially if Casey and Fessel get along and everything. That I feel like Tyler's gonna be instantly in with their group. But where do all these other players?
I think how the veteran Big Brother players, like your Josh, your Fessy, and your Paulie. I keep forgetting that Paulie is not only on this cast, but like I just feel like it's so far removed. To me, it's just like he is a different era of a player. But I am so excited to see Paulie. I'll say that right now. And I really think how like Paulie, Josh, and Fessy, they work together. I think that will make it more likely that all the Big Brother works together. But if there's some butting heads there, I don't see Big Brother doing too well.
Paulie is going to have to try to figure something out on, I mean, if we're going to talk about the 3-team format, I mean, just thinking of the guys that are on his side, it's like him, Bananas, and Josh. It should be just interesting just seeing how that whole red team works together in the beginning of the game. I think we talked a lot about Big Brother. Let's go on to another show that you're very much in the know of, and that is Survivor. What do you think about these Survivor players that are coming on here? I mean, we have the rookies of Chris, Casti, Chanel, and Sebastian. And then we also have Desi as well from just looking at strictly USA 1 and 2. What do you think about these 5 players / the newcomers of the Survivor players coming in?
I'm kind of confused at the choices, but I'm not disappointed in most of them. The one that's like the biggest why to me is Sebastian. He didn't really do much on his season of Survivor, and it was a while ago. So the fact that he got the call, was interested, and then also made it on, that's the biggest. Cassidy definitely surprised me physically on Survivor. She won, I think, 3 individual immunities, did really well, made it to the end, had a really good shot of winning. I thought she was going to win. I'm excited to see her play. I know she's got a very big and loyal fan base. Chanel, I was a little more surprised to see. She was a little bit of an earlier boot on Survivor 42, but is one of those players that, unlike Sebastian, has remained very active, very just keeping up with the show, keeping up with the players and stuff. So seeing her isn't as much of a surprise, but I am not as aware of her abilities. And then Desi, I am so happy. Just the disgust. I was like, are you kidding me? And so, it's one thing if it's just you, but you're taking out Desi and he's not even thinking for a second about it. He's just like, nope, I'm done. Sorry. And that was heartbreaking to watch. And I'm so glad that she's getting another chance. I loved watching her on USA 1. She is a beast.
Yeah.
So I have really high hopes for her. I have high expectations just because we saw her kill it on USA 1. And I do think that she is going to do just as well.
What do you think about Michaela and Michelle's chances, having seen them not only on Survivor, but also on a challenge season, now on a Challenge USA 2 with all the rest of this cast?
Yeah, starting out with Michaela, I mean, I still say it, even though she was the first out on 37, I feel like this show is much more up her alley than something like Survivor. When I was looking through the women on here, I was like, Michaela is probably the person, maybe Tori, I guess, that I would going head to head against Desi and something. If I have to put my money on somebody, Michaela is one of the people that I would pick. She's definitely someone that I would not want to go against in an elimination. And then for Michelle, I still don't have a solid idea of what tier competitor I would put her in. And it's weird because out of all the Survivor people, she definitely has the most stuff I can look back on. She got 2 seasons of Survivor, 2 seasons of the challenge. Now it's coming on this, and I'm I still don't know how I would rank her. Like, to me, she's still the biggest wild card of the people that I've seen before. And Chris, I didn't even mention Chris before. I'm excited to see Chris. And that was a shock as well. Out of all the Survivor winners, he only played for a third of the time.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to see him come back and see his all. Like, he's the person that I don't know much of what they can do other than they were voted out third. They came back and they had to go all out in order to win. And it was successful, but I don't know how often he would be successful. So this will be a good time. So everyone Survivor except for Sebastian, I am excited to see.
So I'm so glad you mentioned Chris, because I kind of forgot Chris as well. But like you said, I mean, I just remember watching his season going, he won, but in the most unconventional way possible that you could win. And like, not to like diss him or anything, it's just what does those skill sets do? Like, watching his season, it's so difficult to try to figure out what his skill sets are from that season that he could take to the challenge. Now, I will say, I didn't know how like big this dude was until you got those cast photos, and I was like, yo, maybe it was just the island or not eating much of anything on the edge of extinction, but this guy looks huge.
No, he's a big guy. Yeah, he's a tall guy. He's got some muscle. I mean, I haven't like inspected the new cast photos too much. I've seen them, but even, I mean, his season as Survivor probably filmed like 4 or 5 years ago, and he was athletic then. So I can just imagine, like, if he's just been working out since then, still, like, he's a big guy.
So we got to talk about it because there are at least 2 representatives on this cast list. But what's the deal with like the challenge not respecting or underrating the Amazing Race players?
I can't believe that there are less than last. Like, they only had 3 last season. They come in, now there's only 2. And it's like, at that point, it is like, I feel bad for them. Like, why even include them if you're only going to like just I picture seeing like the group cast photos the first time where you've got like your 9 Big Brother players, like your 8 Survivor players, and then you have the 2 Amazing Racers. It's just like, I feel bad. Just them being 2 people, like, there's not the biggest incentive to grab them unless every number counts. Like, if you're making an alliance of like 6 or so people, you're like, the Amazing Racers. Like,
I feel bad for him, like you were saying, like at least 4. You can like see a pathway of maybe gaining some numbers, maybe some outcast numbers there. But with only 2 of them and they're on separate teams, the early game is always let's feel the game out, you know? So if it comes down to a vote of sending one of your own players in and their team is down in the bottom, I just have a feeling that they could be easily being like, well, we got to get rid of, we're going to place somebody and they're the newcomer with no numbers to help us out at all.
Who's getting upset if you're throwing them in? You're not going to have the entire Survivor Alliance coming after you because there's only 2 of them.
Let's give at least one name of who we think could be an early boot to the season. You can be as layup as you want to and maybe name a Amazing Race player like Dusty or Lewis, or if you want to go off the cuff and say really anybody's name that you think could be an early boot, and let's say the first 3 episodes, like the first 3 eliminations.
I'm going to try to like not just pick, like, I'm not going to pick an Amazing Racer and I'm not going to pick Sebastian just because like I feel like I've already talked about that. But just looking at the players, I don't know. Like, I even feel like Paulie is somebody where it's like we kind of already talked about it. So I'm going to pick Wes just because I'm like thinking about like, not that like placements mean everything, but there's just like such a history of Bananas outplacing Wes in like the last however many seasons together that they've played on. And I could just definitely see where it's just like something happens, Banana and Wes go into elimination, Bananas pulls it out over Wes. So out of like the not more layup choices, I think Wes could find himself out. And I just think that's a little bit funny. Sorry, I'm like smiling, like laughing the whole time.
I mean, Wes has these seasons where it's like either hot and cold, whether he's like really focused and lasered in, or he could get the boot in episode 4 because he doesn't want to drink a drink or something like that. So you never know what could happen. My early boot pick, I'm kind of going to go cheese it with what happened in USA 1, but I just don't have a ton of confidence in Tiffany going super far in this season. I think granted, Bananas and like Wes and even John A are a little bit older, like skewing older than some of the other players. But I just feel like Tiffany, given like she could be really a good player and a team member, I just think that if given the opportunity, her team could vote her in early, especially if they don't like gel with her as much. Like I feel like that red team of Bananas, John A, Tiffany, and Paulie and Josh, and I think there's a few other players. Like I could just feel that if they go into an early like spot, they could easily be like, we're just gonna kind of toss her in. And looking at the cast list, and we've been talking about every single person on this cast list, it has to be a very specific elimination that I feel like Tiffany would need to get that win and then come back into the game. But if she were to come back into the game, who's to say she wouldn't just get sent in again?
Going off of what you were just like, I think that's a very fair choice. I tend to not dissect like the trailers that much, but like I'll watch it and I'll try not to spoil myself too much. But for someone like Tiffany, I agree with every single thing that you said. And the only thing that I would be like, well, if she like in the beginning of her Big Brother season, she did it so well socially, like she was phenomenal. And then I just remember looking at this trailer and like I think it was her, but like she's already fighting with somebody. I don't remember if like she was screaming at someone or someone was screaming at her. Yeah. But it's like that was her out in a sense. She can just like make the friends so she can have the numbers. Maybe that's her way of not getting thrown in. And then she's already like, I see her screaming and fighting with somebody, or it's like, that's what I needed you to not do to survive. Well, I needed you to be friends with everybody. I think I much prefer watching Tiffany play Big Brother because socially and strategically, like she is shown to do so well. Yeah. But I feel like on this, like if she does get thrown in and she might need like that specific type of elimination to come back, who's to say that she's not going to get thrown in the next time? And then maybe that time it's not the elimination she needs.
Who is somebody that you think maybe is a little underrated or maybe doesn't have the most clean or most direct path to making a finals, but could do it and that you could see them doing it?
I'm going to go with Luis, which is, I mean, like, I don't know much about Luis. All I know is his cast photo, and he played The Amazing Race, and he got third on The Amazing Race, which at least gives me some sort of confidence, physical side, which is extremely important in the challenge. I even saw that I think he won a bunch of legs on The Amazing Race. And we're talking long shot. I know I was saying earlier that he's not like The Amazing Racers. They're not going to be the ones rallying numbers. Like they very well could be like, not many people would be sticking their neck out for them. But if he can, like, I feel like it might be in his benefit to even detach from Dusty, where it's like, listen, I am just my own player. I am a number that you could use. I'm good at challenges. Like, I'm going to be the best team player there is here. Like, I think of someone like Kayla last year. Like, she was against the numbers, but she eventually was able to work her way in, and she made it to the final. Yeah, I could see Lewis maybe sneaking his way through. Maybe not. Maybe he's one of the first people out. But that's my dark horse.
I want to pick like a Survivor player because there's just so many of them, and they could all work together. But I still think that they're going to have to like actually compete. Like, they're not going to be able to just rely on numbers, I feel, because of the 3-team format. So I want to say, like, my long shot, just because I feel like people maybe discount them or underrate them because of their Survivor season. And I'm going to say Chanel. I think, kind of like what we were saying with Michaela, I feel like she has somewhat a decent social game, as well as I think that she's not going to be a pushover whatsoever. Like, she's going to have that backing, especially if Survivor like sticks Survivor strong. The problem is that she's going to be having to face against players like Desi and Michaela, maybe not directly in an elimination, but say they make it really deep into the season. I mean, she's most likely going to be seeing an elimination before probably Desi or Michelle and even Michaela. So, I mean, she's going to have to prove it, and she's going to have to like show that she can go in and out of possibly multiple eliminations. But to me, I feel like I have so much confidence in Survivor, not just looking back on what happened in USA season 1, but just like overall. So to me, I feel like Chanel, I mean, I almost went Cassidy, but Cassidy went like final 2, basically. She was a runner-up in Survivor, and I think that a lot
she
of
might
people
have that threat.
Yeah, like I think a lot of people are already like in her bandwagon. So I went with a different Survivor player and went with Chanel.
That's a good that's a really good pick. I like that pick a lot. She is someone that isn't coming in with the target that a lot of other people would be coming in with, but she's also not going to be someone that you're looking at where it's like, oh, like we could just like, sorry, we're getting rid of you, and she's going to sit there and take it. Like she's not going to sit there and take it. She's like, what do you mean? Like that's not happening. And like having the Survivor numbers, like I definitely could see. I think it's a good conglomerate of numbers, lower threat level in the eyes of the other players, and capability.
We're going to go with an MVP pick. And this could be for really anything that you want to credit as an MVP pick. Like it could be performance-based, most eliminations, or anything. Like I kind of view it as somebody that you're going to look back on the season and be like, I'm so thankful that they were on this season. And to me, that person I feel is going to be Amanda, because of the entertainment value, as well as she's going to be the antithesis to the vacation people. The people that we kind of talked about already, that we're like rolling our eyes, kind of scoffing, that we've seen them for like multiple seasons in a row now, that they just won't take a break. And Amanda's here to bring the drama, bring the noise, bring the entertainment, and also kind of be like, I'm tired of y'all too. And so to me, I think we're all going to look back and be like, gosh, I'm so happy that Amanda was on this season. She's a breath of fresh air, and she's saying exactly how we feel about certain players.
Yeah, no, I even just like, I think I saw her fighting with Tori on Twitter the other day.
Yeah.
I don't even know what started it or anything, but it was just like, it was fun to like, it's nice to know like she's not worried about, oh, how is this going to affect my relationships for next season? It's just like, she's saying it how it is. I was thinking about picking Michaela, but because you chose a girl, I'm going to choose a guy. But if I were to choose a girl, I would have chosen Michaela, just kind of like for similar reasons. Like Michaela says it how it is. Like she's not worried about like making relationships for the next season. She's telling you how it is. She's going to compete at her hardest. And I really hope she doesn't go out first, because like I want to see her on a season of the challenge for more than one episode. For the guys, I talked about him a little bit earlier, but I'm going to go with Tyler. And I think, I mean, it's a little bit of using like the trailer and like the poster. He's on the front of the poster. Being on the poster, I have to assume that he's on the poster for a reason, which is already more like, because the image of Tyler that I have in my head is the Big Brother 22 Tyler that kind of just didn't really have his head in the game, like wasn't really there. And now I'm already seeing this. And I also like, I mean, I'm getting very specific here. I think there's going to be some like big upset, like maybe taking out someone like Corey in an elimination, similar to like Jay taking out CT in Total Madness, where I don't think the discrepancy or like the difference between the two is as big as it was for Jay versus CT, but something like that where he's going in as the underdog and he's going to come out on top in that. So he's going to be bringing in all of the different aspects of the game. I think I've said this, but like, he could go out first. Like he could go out very early on, and none of this makes any sense. But I feel like he will have that lasting impact where you look back on the season and he might be one of the players that first come to your mind after all is said and done.
I'll be honest. Somebody said it, I think, in one of my Patreon talks, but somebody said that possibly that the original idea was for the Challenge 38 was Tyler and Casey, and how different their game would have been than with Casey and Kenny as paired up with each other.
Who's Kenny? I still don't know who Kenny is. No, but that would have been, that would have made like a lot more sense, and I would have a much, like, I don't know what to expect from Tyler going into this, but I have to assume that if Tyler went on to 38, he would have done more for me than Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that Kenny was on. I know this isn't to talk about that, but how did they put him on the show?
All right, final question, or the final category, winner picks. We'll pick one man and one woman. I feel like that's going to be the format anyways, is one man, one woman, since that was USA season 1, but you never know what could happen. They could pull an All-Stars 1 and one solo winner, but hey, you get double the odds at least at that point. So who, picking right now on whatever day it is, mid-July, July 18th of when this is recording, who do you think will be your winner picks, or who are you picking as your winner picks?
Again, you can pick who I pick, because I'm still picking Desi. Like, I made it very clear, Desi is my all-star. It could be a one-winner format. I'm picking Desi over everybody here. She's just like, I really feel like on USA 1, if she doesn't get paired with Enzo on there, they're not beating her. And I look at this, and there are some good competitors on here, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't see like a Sarah or an Angela who were these players that were very physical and very good in their own rights. Like, I think Desi's biggest competition is probably going to be like the other Survivor girls and Tori, but I'm really hoping Tori just gets disqualified for something. Maybe I don't know. I can't even think of a reason, but yeah, Desi for the girls. And then for the guys, again, this is so tough. Like, I want to pick Corey, even though I just talked about like Tyler upsetting Corey or something like that. I'm gonna pick Fessy. I don't want to pick Fessy necessarily. Like, the thing is that I actually do enjoy watching Fessy. I think he has an arc that is entertaining to watch. I'm not always rooting for him, but he is often providing some sort of something for me. I have a lot of faith in him making the finals. Like, I don't think anybody in here is going to, if there is any sort of like choice aspect to like going up against somebody in an elimination, I think Fessy is the last person that anybody is picking to go against. And he's also really good if he does go in there. So it's all a matter of if he can do it in the final. And I know he's gotten 4th place on the 2 finals that he was in, but maybe this is his one. I don't know. I think it's just out of everybody here, I'm just the most confident in him making the finals. So for that reason, he's my male winner pick.
All right, Fessy and Desi. I like that. I like that.
I like the sound of that one.
I kind of learned from what happened in USA season 1 talk, where it was like I feel like we overanalyzed a lot. So I'm gonna pick people that I really want to see go far, and that I will be rooting for. So I too will be picking Desi, because I don't really want to see much of I don't know. I just see like her being able to make the finals. I feel like Tori could also be in there. I think Johnny could also be in there. I just feel like Desi is the freshest out of everybody, since they just came off of playing a world championship and possibly 38 or all-stars. And Desi is going to come in super focused, like so like determined to like prove that, hey, if I would have been able to not have Enzo as a partner, like everybody would have had to watch out for me. And I'm going to pick Corey. I really am coming in rooting so hard for Corey to finally get that win. I mean, I know that the trailer kind of like shows him off quite a bit, so that gives me a little bit of some confidence, as well as him being like, I don't care if you've won 7 times, I'm winning today. And maybe people will say that's a little too on the nose, but to me, I feel like that's the kind of level that you need to come in at. You need to come in with that fire. And out of everybody on the MTV side, I feel like, except for like, well, the Big Brother players that play Big Brother and maybe are coming in with like friends on that side, like Corey doesn't necessarily have a ton of friends, but with his associations with like Fessel and Josh and Tori, I feel like they'll be able to mend some bridges, as well as he hasn't played in quite a bit, and he hasn't had the kind of level of like maybe arrogance. Maybe he's put that beside him because he's a father. Like, I feel like Bananas, left so much bad taste in a lot of people's mouths in World Championship that I actually worry about his social game coming into this. The same with Wes, because he has that reputation. So to me, Corey doesn't have that. Even if he's on the MTV, he doesn't have that. I feel like he'll be able to get along with everybody and kind of like, I don't know, like it's like serpentine all the way up there. And he's also big as heck. So what you were saying about Festival, nobody wants to see him. I feel like Corey's going to be the same way. Like nobody's going to want to see that dude.
I wouldn't want to see Corey.
You know, so I feel like we got through a good amount of conversations in even just a little bit of time. I would love to keep this conversation going throughout the season. It would be awesome to do at least a mid-season review and see where our predictions are at, if any of our long shots are still in here, if any of our early boots are still in here, if even our winner picks are still in here. My gosh. But thank you so much for joining me today, talking about the Challenge USA 2. It was a pleasure getting even more into the insights of Big Brother and other CBS shows that maybe I don't take too seriously or don't look into too seriously, but I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
No, every time you invite me for one of these, I'm like always stoked to talk about it because it's not often that I get, like, I have one friend that watches the challenge. So outside of talking with them, like, I don't talk to too many other people. So to come on here, talk about it, and it's stuff that I know, like I'm coming in talking about Big Brother people. It's always a good time. So thank you for inviting me again.